Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back to my channel and another deck profile video. Today, let's look at Lugia Wyrdeer, a deck which has really taken Japan by storm due to Jet Energy the last few weeks. But how does this deck actually function? So I thought I would talk about this list because it did pretty well over in the Champions League this weekend. It did in fact get a top 8 position, in fact losing to its other counterpart, the single strike deck. But it's been absolutely dominant in the last few weeks, racking up an impressive 7 wins in the week just before the City League, which is really, really good. The idea is you try and get the turn 2 summoning star to quite get the Archeops out, flood the board with energy as much as possible. Then near the end of the game, you attack with Wyrdeer to get using its amazing ability to move all the energies to it to hit huge one-hit KOs. Downside to this, it's variability and energy focus. So definitely can see a little bit of a kind of decline because it's focusing on the big energies always have to be on the board, whereas you can do single strikes, so you can always constantly reuse the energies due to having earned a fatality. So let's look. This is the top 8 list. I said I would kind of talk about it and kind of what each card sort of represents and how they work in the format right now. So obviously this is the big change here. It does have Jet Energy, which we do not have access to right now until June. This is the main reason why this deck works, because you can flood the board with so many energies and then attach the Jet Energy to the Wyrdeer to move it to the active spot and then move all the energies to it to get the big KOs. And how does this work properly? We run a 4-4 line of Lugia. We want to get the best out to try and get the turn 2 summoning star. Saying goodbye to Evolution Incense and Quick Ball, it becomes a lot more difficult to get the cards which we might need at the time. So having a higher count of Lugia means we could potentially draw into it. Because of that, we're playing 4 copies of Archeops. Like I said, the discarding effects, we say goodbye to Quick Ball, we didn't gain an extra ball card to discard, so we have to play a higher count of that. And due to that, we're playing 2 copies of Luminion. It's Luminous Sign, which is an amazing ability to get any supporters we might need. We play quite a few one-ofs which are good to discard, like Professor Barnett, Serena, Zinnia's Resolve, and even Professor's Research. Getting this out turn 2 to get the discarding effect, to get the Archeops in the bin, is exactly what you need to try and get out that turn 2 summoning star. Other support Pokemon we have a Radiant Gardevoir to kind of reduce the damage by, I believe it is 20 or 30. I always forget which one is which. Kind of buffing up some of the Pokemon's HP and protecting them from any opposing V Pokemon. The other sort of attackers we do have is the Wyrdeer V, like I just said, an amazing ability to move all the energies to it when it's in the active spot. You can get that via Jet Energy or just casually retreating, but you want to have that big one-hit KO. It's kind of your late game sort of attacker. Then we play Drapion to help with Mew and also Gardevoir, and 1 copy of Snorlax. This is really, really good, especially obviously against Lost Box. They can't really get those big KOs, and Sableye can't even affect it. So that's why Snorlax is a really good one prizer. So you mainly are attacking with Lugia V-Star quite early game. Try and like soften it up a little bit. You have your Snorlax, yes, to do about 180 damage to quite a lot of the board state. And then near the end, probably at least your last or second to last turn, you attack with Wyrdeer to get those big one-hit KOs, which you might desperately need. Item cards are very, very slim in this list. We only play 4 copies of Ultra Ball, 4 copies of Captain Roma, and 2 copies of Inespal. Ultra Ball is just the best searching card right now for Pokemon, and Captain Roma is a chance of a flip to see exactly if you want to have an evolved Pokemon or a basic Pokemon. Very much a bit flippy this deck is. We're playing Captain Roma and 4 copies of Mesagoza. So you really have to rely on the right flips to get the Pokemon you might need. And Nestballs, this is really good to get the Wyrdeer we might need, or Drapion and the Lugias early on. Like I said, the support account for this list is very slim, but we have Luminion to help. 2 copies of Research, 1 copy of Barnett, 1 copy of Serena, and 1 copy of Zinnia's Resolve. Really good discarding effects in card, as well as some additional draw factors which we might need in the game. 3 copies of Boss's Order is really, really strong, with the huge rise of Gardevoir and Miraidon, and potentially obviously big of Lost Box going around. You don't really need Serena as much to get up the Vs. You want to get the other Pokemon which you might need, which you can't get with using Serena. And we also play 2 copies of Judge and 1 copy of Roxanne to be a bit disruptive to the opponent. Really, really strong. And 1 copy of Sharon's Care to get the healing aspect. Really helpful to potentially even reuse some Wyrdeer if it's damaged early on, or potentially just attacking again with Lugia V-Star to try and get that extra healing. We also play 4 copies of Mesagoza as our stadium card of choice, really trying to push out to get the Pokemon which you might need as possible. Also a good way to get out of Path, because this deck is very reliant on abilities, and if, say, for example, Path stays out for too long, this deck can really crumble. Energy count, 4 copies of V-Guard energy, really good sort of colorless energy to kind of like, again, beef up the HP. So with Radiant Guard as well and V-Guard, you're potentially dealing, the V Pokemon are dealing 60 less damage, which is exactly what you want to have in this deck to be as beefy as possible. 4 double turbos, this against a Wyrdeer is all of a sudden going to be more damage, which is really strong, and you can attack with Lugia very easily. The 4 jet energy is exactly what makes this deck work. The way to flood the board with energy, attach the jet energy to your Wyrdeer, and you can immediately get these lovely switching outs in, which a regular switching card may not be useful for, and also dealing more damage. And then we play 2 copies of GIF and 1 copy of regenerative energy. Really powerful energies to where you're going to draw or get some healing in. So this, in fact, is the top 4 list, which I showcased a couple days ago on the channel. And I think it's a really powerful start into this list. This archetype is definitely still new, definitely trying to understand how it could work. You could obviously add cards like Clara or even another 1 or 2 attackers in this game to really try and like benefit to get these big KOs with Wyrdeer or Snorlax carrying on throughout the game. Overall, this is really powerful, very strong, but what is its matchups like? So in positive, it has a pretty good Mew, Arceus Tina, and Gardevoir EX list. Mew, because you have 2 outs to get these big one-hit KOs, and potentially getting the KOs on Genesect on the bench is always really nice. At the higher count of Boss as well as Serena, you can have a decent shot at Mew. Arceus Giratina, again, you can get the big one-hit KOs. Granted, yes, they do have potentially a Sharon's Care in the list, so you want to try and aim for the Giratinas as quickly as possible. And they're not really going to get to the bigs using Star Requiem near the end, and having all of these big sort of damage reductions like V-Guard as well as Gardevoir, they could potentially not get one-hit KOs on any of your Pokemon. And Gardevoir does take a while to set up, and this deck can really capitalize on that. It does in fact have a few negative matchups, even its counterpart Lugia Single Strike. Lugia, the Single Strike version, does ramp up to get the big one-hit KOs quicker than the Wyrdeer version and isn't reliant on abilities as often as possible. And the Lost Zone decks are very much a 50-50 sort of option. With Giratina, they do get up to the Star Requiem very quickly and can get the big KOs incredibly faster than the other decks. But you do, again, like when I said about against Arceus, you do play V-Guard and also Gardevoir, which could potentially help in your matchup. And Miraidon kind of makes sense. It does hit for weakness, and they can easily get the big one-hit KOs, and they don't get affected by V-Guard energy. Similar thing with Lost Box as well. They can kind of struggle with it because it's single prizer, and potentially they can get one-hit KOs if they play the Raikou V and even the Sky Steel Stone, which is kind of being very popular over there. So this is a sort of rough sort of list about kind of the matchups about how this deck sort of works, but could it work right now in our current format? The answer kind of is no. Yeah, it does work. This is a rough sort of list if you want to try it right now in the format it's testing to EUIC. But because we don't have jet energy, that's exactly why this deck works. You might have to substitute to have lucky energy, then having escape ropes and switch, which can potentially get in the Wyrdeer to get those KOs later on in the game. We just have to substitute a few cards like getting rid of jet energy and potentially even going down to 3 lucky energy and even limiting the boss count, just so we can try and get the switching cards we may in fact need to help us in the game. I think this deck is definitely a threat to really consider, especially going into when we get our format over in June. So yes, I'm a big fan of kind of seeing this Lugia is adapting. We're seeing 2 versions of Lugia now, unlike what we've been used to for, I feel like, an entire eternity of this one toxic, very strong Lugia. We're kind of seeing this other one, which is a little bit of slow hitting, but can get the big one-hit KOs in the end game. So that is a sort of a wrap onto a Lugia VStar sort of deck. I hope this has been really informative, kind of explaining why each card is sort of played and how the deck works as a whole. If you're new, be sure to like and subscribe down below, and comment if you think this is definitely a deck which you want to try out and could see some potential with this version at EUIC next week. My name is Charlie TCG, and I hope you enjoyed this video.